Hey everybody, welcome to the show. I'm your host Sandman. Today I'm going to be talking about all of my lockpick jackknives. Let's get into it. I did my best in the past to try to explain what is a jackknife and how do we compare it against all the others on the market. We have weight, size, practicality, comfort, retention. I measured everything in grams, and told you which ones were the heaviest, which ones were the lightest, because these are supposed to go in your pocket. I tried to explain cost, which ones were way overpriced, which ones were definitely in the affordable range, and then the practicality, which one had the most tools inside, but did that really make it usable, and which ones had the average amount of tools, which I think is like the sweet spot here, like we see with Multipick. But at the end of the day, guys, it's subjective, okay? It's completely subjective. I could sit here and quantify, weigh, and measure all the different reasons objectively as to why I think these tools are better than other tools, and some of you are still not going to be okay with it because we have a thing in this world called confirmation bias, and sometimes people don't come to a video going, what's a jackknife? I've never seen these before. Most of you have heard of jackknives, and you may own one or two of these, or you're thinking about owning one or two of these, and you want to see what Sandman says, but you're not looking for my opinion. You want me to solidify your opinion. People are looking for permission to purchase what they had in mind to purchase all along. That's why they watch reviews. They are trying to see if someone else's opinion aligns with theirs. So it makes the reviewing process kind of difficult. If I tell you that I don't like one company over all of the others, that I think that one company is the absolute worst, somebody's going to get upset. And they're like, but, it's because you came here hoping that I would agree with your opinion. So, moving forward, I'm probably not going to do those types of reviews. I'm not going to compare companies against other companies anymore. It's not fun. All it does is just create dissent in the community. And I'd rather guys, there's a lot of fun in purchasing something and be like, that's very unique. That's interesting. I like this Majestic here. Of all of these, I'm really glad that I have this. I mean, this thing is absolute garbage, but I think this design has been around at least 40 years, maybe longer, maybe almost 50. And I'm dating myself here. I was born in the 80s, mid 80s. And so I think this thing's probably been around at least the 80s. I don't know if it's been around since the 70s, but at least the 80s, I would suspect. And this is something I would never carry. It's absolute garbage. It's dog crap. But how cool is this? Like, it's cool to buy something like this and realize, like, oh wow, like there's a tension here and here, and what I do is I like swing this out, and then I pick the profile that I want, like that, and then I swing this back in if I can, and then I slide this forward, and that's my locking mechanism. How cool is that? How cool is that? Majestic is one of those companies that's not going to be around in the next 5 years. I guarantee. There's no way those guys can keep up. I don't know how they're still a company. I thought they actually went out of business a couple years ago, but yet they're still popping up. I don't know who's making them. I have theories. I don't know if Majestic is owned by Brokerage, which is now owned by CLK. Or is CLK actually own Brokerage? But I know that they actually own lockpicks.com, which was owned by Brokerage. Who knows, man? This is all corporation stuff. But this is the worst lockpick I have in my collection. Look at that. The profile's bent, but it's cool. This is cool. It's fun to collect stuff and to try stuff and to come up with your own opinion. That's what I'm trying to get to. I don't want to convince you guys to, buy one company over another. I just want to do reviews, and you guys can make the decision for yourself. I don't know how this goes back in. I think this, did I break it? How does this go in here? I don't remember. I think it slides in. Oh man, I'll have to look. Oh, okay, it goes right here. Here we go. So it goes right there. See, that's what's fun about this. This stuff is all a puzzle, and you get to figure out how stuff works. I'm trying not to curse right now. And then that just slides up. That's it. That's the tool. That is so rudimentary, and it's like, I feel like I could make something like this in my garage if I tried hard enough. Like, I really do. That's cool. I would never recommend it. I will never use it. I'll never put it in my pocket. This thing would tear a hole in my pocket. after 10 minutes. I guarantee it. But that's cool. That's what's fun about collecting, is I get to come up with my own opinion. The hard part about making reviews is trying to convince you all of my opinion. And I try to do it objectively, but at the end of the day, guys, buy what you want. Let's get into some of these. So this is the Swick. Swick came out couple years ago, a little over 5 years ago, I think, maybe 7 years ago. I'm trying to think back to Bosnian Bill when he started doing review. It took them several years in development. I know Christina Palmer had a big hand in designing this. It has 12 profiles and 8 tensioners, and 2 of those tensioners are double-ended. So they're magnetic here. It's really hard to get out. You have to kind of use your nails here like that. I'm kind of scared to pull out these tensioners here, but I'm going to, because they have to go back in a very specific order. So the first one on the right, and then I'm going to go with the first one on the left. And then we have, I mean, if you get this order incorrect, you're never getting them back in. And we have this big boy here on the right. And then this little guy here on the left. And this is another reason why I'd never carry this. I'd have to memorize this order of events before I carried it. Oh, wait, those didn't have to go out. How many? The tools are right here. They do have to come out if you're going to use them, but you could also just use these. So those came out. Okay, you got to pull all of these out at once, and it's a very strong locking mechanism. You pick the tool you want to use. All of these profiles are all Christina Palmer design profiles, which is very common. Christina Palmer designed what is considered 2/3 of lockpicks on the market. A lot of Multipick, a lot of Covert Instruments, even some Jimy Longs have some all influence from Christina Palmer. I have it designed so that the short hook is closest to the right, and it feels like you're going to pick the lock while holding a jackknife in your hand. It's very large. It's very large. The biggest complaint about this particular jackknife is it doesn't come tumbled very well. I don't know if they sand these by hand, but I don't think they use a centrifugal tumbler. If they do, they need to figure out a better medium for polishing, because these things come so sharp that they're probably going to cut your hand. So I had to send these off to a friend that has a centrifugal tumbler, and he tumbled them for me just so I could have something that I could actually use. I mean, this thing will really jack up your hand when you get it. So it's not so sharp that it's as sharp as a knife, but I literally tested it on pieces of paper, and I was trying to cut paper with it, and it came pretty close. It definitely, after product testing for 45 minutes, my middle finger here was trashed. So it definitely cuts into your digits there. But hey, it's a cool jackknife. I'm not going to recommend this jackknife to anybody because it's very expensive. It's a little over $90. And it's just trying too hard to do too much all in one, and getting it assembled is a little bit difficult. There's a certain order of arrangement here. So okay, so the top of keyway here, you know what, I'm just going to put this together. I'm going to fast forward this part and we'll go on with the rest of the review. Okay, we're back. If you do not get that Fibonacci sequence perfect, then you're not going to get these guys back in here. It's cool. I would put this maybe in a bug out bag. Yeah, I could see me putting it in like a bug out bag, just to have as a backup. I don't know. I wouldn't put it in my pocket and then try to rely on it when I need it, because it's so difficult just dealing with all these. They did too much. I think it's too much. I think there's too many tensioners in here, and if you don't know the perfect sequence of putting the tensioners back in, they're just going to end up in your pocket, and then you're going to have to try to put it together while watching a YouTube video. Doesn't come with. I had to ask someone to make me this because these were offered on the website, but you couldn't buy them for some reason at the time. So, but this keeps the magnetic top of keyway tensioners from falling out if you drop it. So that's that. It's cool. I wanted to like this. I wanted this to be my favorite. I wanted it to be my everyday carry, but it just tries too hard to do everything all at once, and therefore it fails a little bit in that aspect. I'm glad that I have it for my collection. It's not something I'm going to recommend for someone to buy moving forward. Next, we have Lockmaster. This is actually pretty decent, It's not my favorite, but it's definitely decent. This is the one from Lockmaster, which is sold by, or manufactured by Vent out of Germany on their Zeissfix website. This is 1095 high carbon steel. It's not the best tool steel in the market, but it is a strong tool steel. It is painted to keep it from rusting. So if you do ever scratch that paint, it will start to oxidize and rust. But I had a problem with some of these jackknives getting my finger in here, but I think, okay, maybe it wasn't this one. But these are 1095 high carbon steel, which is just like a basic tool steel. It's what you're going to see on all the cheaper lockpick sets. And these are generic profiles. We do have some traditional and some more modern profiles in here. It's not a bad one. I like the ease of use. I like, it's not super tight in here. It's a little bit loose. Maybe I could tighten that up. That could just be user error. But I like how easy it is to pull out a bottom of keyway and top of keyway tensioner. I would recommend this tool over a Swick. It's half the price, and it does the job perfectly. And you don't have to worry about a million pieces coming out and then having to put everything back in the correct order. If I don't put these things back together, I'm going to end up with 1,000 pieces in front of me, and that's going to be hard to try to sort them out after. So let's just do this right now. So I would definitely recommend Lockmaster over Swick. Then I have the Moki Lockmaster. This is the limited edition Moki jackknife tool. He makes these and then he runs out, and then a couple months later he'll make them again. It's going to be the same tensioners here with that 1095 high carbon, but the picks in here, oh, it was this one. It's a little bit hard to get out, but I got it. The picks in here are actually a 301 high yield stainless steel, which is going to be much stronger and more erosion, or let's say oxidation resistant to rusting and corrosion from salt or sweat on your hands, like your sweat. I sound like I know what I'm talking about. I have no idea what I'm talking about. People that know what they're talking about know that I don't know what I'm talking about. But this thing has such a nice polish. This thing is never going to rust on me. I don't see that ever happening. This thing's so nice, dude. And this is definitely in my top 3 favorite jackknife tools. But I would say there's nothing wrong with it. I think it's great. I would love to see a gym style hook. He now offers gym style hooks. I would love to see a gym style hook in the profile offerings in the future. So that's that. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to add to that. It's the same thing. It's just a different tool steel with different profiles. So it is an upgrade over the Lockmaster. If you can get your hands on this one, it's definitely worth it compared to the Lockmaster one. So I would definitely recommend this over the Lockmaster. So let's put these in order of what I recommend. So to least recommend. Most recommended to least recommended. Here we have a lockpicktools.com RCS tool. You'll see RCS tool on a lot of jackknives, and then you'll see different company logos right here, like Cloaked Entry Co. to name one. I don't know. Does Searpick have one? There's a couple. Basically, these all come from Southern Specialties out of Georgia. I don't know what RCS tool stands for anymore. I forgot. But we just have our tensioner here, just for bottom of keyway tension. And you have to, I think you have to move this to unlock these. And then we select the profile, and then you push this down to lock it in place. Oh, it goes this way. To lock it in place. And it actually has a really good friction lock here. It's not terrible. I would rather use this than the Swick, unfortunately. Sorry, Swick. I wanted to like you. You know, I wish it had one more tensioner in here. They have room in here to put one more tensioner in here, a top of keyway tensioner like the Lockmaster did, but these people that don't pick locks, so they will probably never see that tensioner in there. But it's not a terrible design. It's fairly inexpensive. It's around $20 to $30. If you're paying $40 for it, you're definitely overpaying. Let's see if I can get that back in here. Yep, I think that's it. So I would put that in front of the Swick. but behind the Lockmaster. This is just going to be a 301 full hard stainless steel, so this is nearly half the strength of the Lockmaster from Moki, the limited edition. And it's also half the strength of the Swick. Swick, I think, uses 301 high yield, but I could be wrong on that. I could be wrong. I don't remember what tool steel is used in this. I need to go back. Even if this was 301 high yield, the strongest tool steel in the market for lockpicks, it's still not my #1 recommended. Then we have the Dangerfield and UK Lockpicks. Both of these are identical clones. Both came from the same Chinese manufacturer because they were competing against each other. I have top of keyway tensioner here that I think slips out. I just loosen this up, and then yeah, that just pulls out. So I have top of keyway tension there. So that's kind of a neat idea. I don't have bottom of keyway tension, just that top of keyway. And then we have some profiles, same thing, friction fit. You pick the profile you want, slide it back in, tighten it up. The one thing that I don't like about this is this friction fit knob right here on the side. I have this thing tightened down pretty tight, and this pick is still very loose. And it's just awkward for picking. You know, it's just not ideal. If you are picking in the UK, if you're actually, you know, you're going to have to pick probably profiles this way. It's just goofy. I would say it's garbage. It's not great. The tool steel, I don't even know. Who cares? It's going to be the best tool steel in the world. I don't recommend it to anybody. So, but I'm pretty sure that they're going to be using the cheaper tool steels for stuff like this, especially for the price point. This guy goes right back in here. And then that goes down, right? Is that correct? Don't know. Gotta loosen this up. Putting this together. Ease of use is very important in your tools as well. You know, is it easy to manipulate? UK Lockpickers is the same. These guys were just in competition with each other. UK Lockpickers is currently out of business because Alan Whitworth, whom I have known since 2010, passed away last year. Last year, I think it was in 2024. April 17th, 2024, he passed away. So rest in peace, brother. Thank you for everything you've done for me. This here is Mad Bob's. Mad Bob's, I think, is based out of the UK as well. These were actually just trying to copy Mad Bob's, I think. I'm pretty sure Mad Bob's came out with their jackknife before these guys came out with it. And so this was like a pretty good standard. I think it only uses 1095, or excuse me. I think it's 301 high, no, excuse me. 301 full hard. I think it uses 301 full hard. I don't know what the tool steel is. I honestly don't know. I used to have all this stuff written down. I used to care. I don't care anymore. I used to be a wealth of knowledge, and then I just had too many tools. I'm like, man, I can't keep track of it. And really, we should just be experts on the tools we actually carry. So we have our generic we have one modern profile in here, which is the Bogota. Everything else is very older technology here. And that's it. It uses a spring tensioner back here. And, yep, the tensioner is actually hidden inside the spring here. Hold on, there's a lawnmower going by my house. So that's what holds the tensioner. It's just for bottom of keyway there. I guess I could probably use it at the top of the keyway. And the spring here is what holds that. That's wild. This is considered a collectible. I don't remember how much these things cost, somewhere between 100, 150 bucks. Mad Bob was making a lot of these things. He was a machinist making a lot of these things by hand and had a really small production. But these are basically made of unobtainium and impossible to find anymore. Here we have the Sparrows Jackknife tool called the Escort. Shortly after they released this, they stopped calling it the Escort and they just called it like the Sparrows Jackknife tool because I guess I'm sure they were having problems with search engine optimization when you call something an Escort. Why they would call it the Escort, I have no idea. Maybe because it follows along with you like an escort, but man, okay, whatever. They use a lot of advertising on their website that they use 280,000 pounds of cold max steel, but cold max steel is not an actual term used in the lockpick manufacturing industry, and people complain about their tools bending and breaking constantly, so I'm suspect on that 280,000 pounds claim. So I don't think these are going to be made of 301 high yield. It's probably just a polished 1095 or maybe a 301 full hard. Who cares? This is a $90 jackknife tool, and it is the heaviest jackknife tool on the market. Let's see here. You have to push here to expose the tensioner, and then you pull the tensioner out. It's kind of a cool design, kind of a bit harder to get back in. You got to look at it. Hang on. Okay. There it is. Gotcha. I don't recommend this to anybody either. I'm just going to put this somewhere over here. I would rather carry the Swick than that. But I would never carry either of these. Okay. Now let's talk about the Covert Instruments Covert Companion. This thing is cool. This thing is basically a Swiss Army knife. People complain, no, you can't pick a lock with it. You don't have to pick a lock with it. You have your lockpick. You have your lockpick set right here that you can remove. And it's essentially this guy, the Slim Pickens. You can pull it out by itself and pick a lock. And then people will say, but Lockpicking Lawyer advertises in his video from 5 years ago that you can pick the lock with it. That's fine. They didn't have the Slim Pickens 5 years ago when they came out with this tool, the Covert Companion. So yeah, when he first came out with the product video, he was probably picking locks with it, like it was like a pistol grip and picking locks with it. But that was 5 years ago. People are ignorant, and people don't want to just move on with their lives, and they want to die on that hill. I think this is cool. The first version of this actually had a little bit looser. No, it was a very tight rivet, and the newer versions have a looser rivet. They were so tight, you had to add some oil to it and work it in, which I personally prefer. I would rather have a tighter rivet than a looser one. But this is the Slim Pickens inside the Covert Companion. Covert Companion does so much. I have no hate for this whatsoever. I think it is what it is. You either like it or you don't. This has so many tools in it, just all the bypass tools, all the comb picks, all the door hook tools. I have tensioners in here, top of keyway tensioners in here. All you got to do is just swing that out this way. So here's my top of keyway tensioners. I think this is a cool tool. This is definitely something I would recommend for a bug out. I would never put it in my pocket, but this is not a terrible tool. And I'm gonna put that as a recommendation right here from least likely to most likely. And then we have other version. I guess these were called the Slim Pickens, and this was called the Riv Pick. Yeah, because it's a rivet. So this is the Riv Pick. That's the Covert Companion. This is Slim Pickens. Slim Pickens is a smaller version of the Covert Companion, just for Riv Pick and tension tools. And if you want to add a couple bypass tools, you could have. And then we have the Riz Pick, which is the McNally profiles that we have here. So we have McNally profiles in here. So we have the McTickler and things like that. I'm not going to take it apart. But yeah, the McTickler's in there. And so the Riz Pick, the Riv Pick, the Riz Pickens, I don't know, who cares? These are dumb names, and I'm tired of trying to memorize everything for historical nuances, but it's not a bad tool. It's really decent. I really like it. It goes right on your keychain, can go in your pocket, and it is a fantastic tool. I've seen people pick white belt to black belt with this pick here, with this Riv Pick, and I think it's a fantastic option. You do have to have tensioners. You can't just put this in your pocket. You need tension wrenches, but this is certainly a really great option. I would put it in like this order, like right that. So I would either carry a Slim Pickens or Riz, whatever they call it, and then if that's too bulky, then I would carry this in a wallet with a single tension wrench or 2 tension wrenches. So that's my recommendation right there. Okay, we have the Grav Pick here, and I have the actual prototype of the Grav Pick, one of 4 only made, which is a proof of concept. So the Covert Instruments sends out the design to a manufacturer. Manufacturer sends back a proof of concept that they can say, hey, this is the quality of our of our craftsmanship. If you like this, we'll move forward and make you millions of them. And so this is one of 4 that they made. That's why there's no paint on it, so they could look at the tolerances and the feel of everything. I never got good at that, but hang on. There we go. But this is so cool that I have a prototype for my collection. Thank you to Covert Instruments for sending this to me. I'm undeserving of this, honestly, but I'm so happy that I have this in my collection to have a proof of concept of a really cool tool, which is the grav pick. There we go. I never got good at it, so bear with me. This thing's cool. I love it. I think it's great. You can totally pick locks with it. I have a rake on it. I'll probably switch it out, put a Bogota on it. It only holds 1 tool at a time, but this thing is such a fun fidget tool. It's a toy, it's a tool, it's functional art. I think it's great. I would still carry this over 90% of the tools in front of you, honestly. It's a lot of fun. So I'm going to put these guys, I'm actually going to put these in front of the Covert Companion, since I would never carry the Covert Companion. It's more of a bug out bag type tool. This is a really great tool to keep in your vehicle, and I think after this video, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it in my vehicle. I've kept it on my desk for so long because I had to use it for reviews, but since I'm no longer going to review jackknife tools moving forward in the future, that's where it's going to go. All right, here we have the Covert Instruments butterfly knife. I've used this once. Let's see here. Okay, does that, and then there we go. It has combs, and that's great. I don't do a lot of comb picking. I should have gotten into comb picking when I was doing bridge raids, and I was salvaging locks on bridges that were going to remove the locks because it's, you know, some love lock bridges are just vandalism. However, some are protected by the city or municipality. So make sure you communicate to your local municipality before you start taking locks off of structures. But this would have been really handy for something like that. I love that they have the option to be able to switch different comb profiles in here. I think that's fantastic that they do that. I don't do a lot of comb picking, so I don't have the locks memorized for these particular combs. That's it. I think it's a really fun, cool toy. It's not something I would carry, but I think it's a really great product. I think this is cool. I'm glad that I have it. I would love to see them come out with other profiles in here, like maybe a rake, or like a Bogota rake, or maybe even just a short hook instead of just combs. I hope that they do offer those upgrades in the future. I would probably carry, would never carry the Escort, but I would still put this behind the Escort because I like to have lock picks and not just combs if I'm dealing with residential or commercial properties. And then I have the Majestic, and we pulled this out already. This thing's terrible, but I would still put this Majestic in front of the comb. This isn't bad. This is really great craftsmanship. This is a really great collector item. It's just not practical for my personal needs today. You know, but I do think it has its place. This is really, you know what? They have like this really cool elastic thing that goes on the outside of their pouches. And I would put this in there with a grav pick. Both of these would go in there for sure. So this does have its place, and I would put it on the outside of a pouch. But for putting in my pocket, this will probably never go in my pocket. I do think it's cool though. I really do like it. I really do. It's just not practical for lock picking because it's a bypass tool only. So that's why it's going here. That's the only reason it's going there. I'm running out of space here. This is the Martin Newton pocket pick. I didn't know that John Fowle had a hand in this. We have 2 top of keyway tension wrenches, which is kind of unusual because one of these is really small top of keyway. I think this is nearly useless in my personal opinion, but maybe it's more for a Yale Y1, Y6 style keyway. To be able to pull out those tension wrenches, you have to take off this guy first. So you take it off of your key ring, and then you push them out and you pull it out like this. Now you have the tensioners, and then you just slide one of these picks forward. And I think it's a really neat design. It is aluminum bodied. It makes it very nice and light. However, I would fear that this thing would get crushed if I set down incorrectly, or if I don't know. I'm scared of destroying this thing. So there are 4 profiles to pick from. They're very good profiles. And that's that. John Fowle is notable for designing a lot of tools in the safe cracking industry, and he's designed lockpicks, but those lockpicks were not received very well when they came out about 10 or 15 years ago. I would love to see him come out with another lockpick set in the future. I think this is really unique, and this is actually going to be something I would recommend, but it's not something that I'm going to carry for various reasons. And dang it, I got to put this together right. Otherwise, it's not going to go together correct. One of these is in like the right place. One of them's in the wrong place. I don't know. Let's see here. Just going to put this back on. It's definitely not, I don't know. I would definitely carry this over the Covert Companion, and I would carry it, I don't know. I don't like the idea of carrying this at all, personally. I'll put it behind the Graph Pick, but in front of the Covert Companion and the Swick. Put it right there. Last but not least is my favorite, and it's going to be my Multipick. This thing is a billeted aluminum body, I believe. The chassis is aluminum. And then we have a 400 series stainless steel, most likely. They have not released those results of the tool steel, but metallurgical analysis done by Christina Palmer in 2013 has revealed it's most likely a 400 series, which could lead to a 420 surgical stainless type steel, which is going to be identical to what Peterson Manufacturing uses in his government steel of his GSP. It's probably going to be comparable to that. And we do have the whole gambit of profiles. They actually have 3 different color versions of this: orange, black, and red. I had a black one somewhere. I may have given it to somebody and said, hey, put this in your pocket, it's better. I have a decoder tool here for decoding combination locks, and I can also use this to manipulate Master 175, but I would never really bypass that. I would just decode the dials here. I have a Bogota here designed by Lock Noob. I have a traditional Christina Palmer Bogota. I have a medium rounded hook. I have what's called a facet, which is very similar to a gym style hook here, and then I have a flat short hook. All of these are going to come in about, I think these are about 0.5 millimeters, and this is what I carry. And I'm going to explain why that is. I'm actually missing a tension wrench here. How is that possible? Oh, here it is. So here's the tension wrench. It's just bottom of keyway, which is fine, but you could pull it out and use it for top of keyway. The reason why this is in my #1 favorite is because this is my wallet by Alpaca, and I like to just take this and it slides like that right in there. I got a thing in there, so I'll probably put it on this side right here. That's a better fit. So that's why I've been carrying it. I was carrying a much larger jackknife right here, but it was just too bulky. This fits perfectly right there. Now I can put something else here, maybe like a lighter or something. I don't know. That'd probably be too bulky too. But I like the lightness of this. I like the ease of use. I like that it's just nice and slim and it just fits. That's what you want in a pocket tool, my opinion. I like the tool steel. I like the tool profiles. I like the company. I like the color. I collect a lot of things in orange. Aesthetically, it matches me, and that's why it's going in my #1 spot right here. This is what I would recommend over everything else. This is completely subjective, folks. Find what you like. Collect stuff. If you buy something that you don't like and you're like, man, I shouldn't have bought this, sell it. Give it to a friend. Give it as a gift. Go on to Discord and the Bazaar and sell it in the Bazaar. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 jackknife tools, and I think I don't need any more. I would love to collect these in all 3 different colors, and I would love to collect all the different profiles. I think I have the profiles somewhere. They have so many different profiles that you can pick from now, what they call expansions, and so that's what makes this unique. You can't buy expansions for Lockmaster or RCS tool. Covert Instruments, you have the Riv Pick and the Riz Pick. but you can't buy different profiles from Martin Newton. The Covert Companion is just a larger version of the Slim Pickens. They do have expansions for the Swick, but we talked about the positives and the negatives of that. There is, I think there is an expansion for the Escort. I don't remember. There's no expansion for the Majestic. This is just a bypass tool. They do have expansions for the Dangerfield, but I don't enjoy carrying. This is too large for my pocket, and this is made of unobtainium. There are more profiles that you can purchase with this multi-pick. It is the lightest. It's in an affordable range for around 30 to 40 bucks. That's why it's in my #1 spot, and I love the color. Folks, that's all I have for today. This is completely subjective. And remember, you'll never ever in your life meet a hater doing better than you, David Goggins. I don't know why that pertained to this, but folks, you either love my reviews or you don't. I hope this tickled your pickle, and I hope that you got something from this. And let me know in the comments down below, what is your favorite jackknife tool? What is a jackknife tool on the market that you have not purchased but you hope to purchase? Maybe I may have influenced you from this video, this review just now. I hope everything was in view. I realized there that I was showing tools up here and I should have brought it in here and maybe come up close. I don't know. Focus is hard to deal with all the time. I apologize. Let me know in the comments down below how this video struck you, and I'll catch you guys next time.